Although there are private schools in India, they're highly regulated in terms of what they can teach, in what form they can cooperate. Must be a non-profit to run any accredited educational institution and all other aspects of operation. We have another assistant, a professor, Dr. B. Devana Paulina, online with us to give us more information. Ms. Paulina, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes,
can hear you.
yes, Ms. Paulina. My first question to you is, how are educational system tackling right now? What are the challenges they are facing?
Uh, the good news is that the technology is very much uh, a helping hand right now in this lockdown period, that we have a number of platforms that are catering to the educational needs of the students. So nowhere learning is held back. Everyone is online, or they are like taking their courses. Schools are reopening online and students are given classes, and
Yeah.
that's the good news.
Yes.
But there is also challenge here. What about places where there is no network connection? What about the government schools in remote areas? That's the greatest challenge. On the other hand, there are the state boards and central boards like NCRT and SCRT that are trying to channel their programs. They are trying to give the education to the students who are in rural areas through different means like recordings and all. So that's also one way of tackling the issue right now. So the good news is on par, better than the bad news. So I don't think there is any right now the question of like how the schools and what the schools and all.
So, how would students make up for the loss of time on account of closure of institutions? 75% of attendance requirement in classes is waived. What would happen to the internal assessments and like Viva Voice exams?
As I have already mentioned, there are platforms like you have simple applications that are available online for free for anybody and everybody to access. We can take the example of simple Google form.
Yeah.
Okay, so attendance can be taken through that. So you have platforms wherein you can give quiz, you can give assignments to the students. So these can be online generated, and it's more fun to do online games, all these quiz and all. So it develops a kind of enthusiasm in the students also. And apart from being online, there is a provision technology gives us which will enable the students to take these tests and games and all these offline too. So you can give them a deadline and make them do the assignments or homeworks or whatever it is needed.
Yeah.
Talking about the online exams, so that's also not an issue, because this communication technology has been, thriving leaps and bounds, wherein there is not a problem for teachers to take the test or Viva Voice things and all. So I can give you the example of my own institution, wherein we are taking online classes right now for all our trainee teachers. So before they actually go to the schools to train or get trained in teaching, they have to do certain skill training in the college itself. So that's called as micro teaching. So even that we are providing them online. We are teaching them how to take an online class right now because it's the need of the hour. Basically, they were taught how to teach a class. Now because of the need of the hour, we are training them how to take an online class there, wherein they have to refine their skills in teaching online classes, and then they are sent to macro schools. Maybe that is also done online. So collaboration has to be done with the schools that are already teaching students online, and we provide this platform for us trainee teachers to take online classes to the students. So technology is helping us a lot, no matter what, where and how. So that will not be an issue at all.
Yeah. So online methods be followed for conducting. What about practical classes, discipline where absolutely is necessary when students they can't even move out of campus in the absence of conducting practical classes? Where would that would fall flat in the education system, right?
Yes. If you're talking about sciences, especially wherein you need to conduct experiments in the laboratories and all. That's a question that has to be thought about.
Yeah.
Apart from that, any other subject doesn't have a difficulty in conducting these online experiments or whatever, online practical issues and all. But if we talk about science groups, how exactly it is done, I have not explored much, but there are simulations, applications and simulations wherein you do it online and get the results too. That is what I know is I know about lower classes or lower grades, but talking about higher education, I have not much knowledge about it. I still need to think about those things or explore on those issues. Definitely there should be a thought about this, especially in higher education. How is this practical going to happen? Right. So basically the government and the concerned higher authority educational institutions and the policy makers are looking into all these aspects. Maybe they'll come up with a committee or a recommendation that has to be taken up immediately.
Right, right. Online teaching. If online teaching, if at all, after consulting all the educational system, they chose not to open, as there's a petition which is circulating, Ms. Paulina. It says that students have been signing a petition which says schools or educational institutions shouldn't be open until COVID-19 is continued. So my question here is, if online teaching is continued, what could be the long-term effects of it? Will online teaching be affected on academic calendar? What are the long-term effects? Because children are restricted to 4 walls. So if they're not allowed to go to schools, there are so many things that have been cutting off already. It's going to impact on them psychologically as well. So what could be these long-term effects of online teaching?
Definitely talking about restriction of the students to the 4 walls, it's questionable. But talking about the enthusiasm and the learning aspect in the online long-term effect, I say, as and when I'm trying to explore more and more, online is more effective. You have a lot of technology that is helping you in different ways and stimulating the varying the stimuli to the students and giving them the material or giving them the assignments or giving them the learning aspect.
Yeah.
But talking about the psychological issues, definitely it's going to be there for a thought. But on the other end, I have seen people or the institutions or organizations which are providing this kind of basic virtual physical activities to the students too. Because I have seen my own daughter's school which has provided summer camp for almost more than 100 students.
Yeah.
Wherein they provided Zumba classes, dance classes, they have provided art classes, music classes online.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you talk about technology, you have means to approach. So it's all now in the hand of a teacher and the management of the school to look for the means and see how best they can give these kind of experiences to the students to make them more active physically, mentally, as well as socially. Now, how is that you're going to get connected with the other students, other friends? How is that you're going to discuss? How is that you're going to physically get involved in all these activities? So there are means in which you have to look for. So it's all the more in the hands of the teacher to strive more hard enough to explore all these areas and the managements to provide these things basically. So even if the teacher is competent, if the management is not enough having an infrastructure to provide all these needs, definitely again it's a thing to think about.
Yes, Ms. Paulina, keeping all this in mind, what is the support that the educational systems are actually expecting from government? What kind of norms, what kind of support that the educational systems need from the government at this point of time?
The very basic thing that is required right now in the lockdown period before even it reopens is the infrastructural facilities that are required for going online.
Yeah.
So in what way the government is going to provide is a major question now. So SERT is striving hard to record classes and then give channels to the people or out there students who will like view those lessons and then get trained or learn whatever is required and all. Apart from that, it's pretty difficult to understand the necessities of individual students. Yes, there are, you can say everybody is having a smartphone in hand, but
Yeah.
there are others who do not. What about them? How do you get in touch with those people? So this is what is required for the government to look into, how to provide, what ways you need to go in order to reach out to those students. That is the need of the